Hey everyone, it's Kate Burdish here, and today we're diving into a super useful skill, and that's annotation. Annotation helps us dive deeper into our texts and understand them better. We will learn what we should be annotating, like key ideas, questions, and connections, and how to mark them in our books. Whether it's for school or just reading for fun, annotation is a game changer. Get ready to sharpen your reading skills and get new insights with me. Let's get started. And before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Today, first we are going to be talking about what techniques we can use to become successful annotators. Then later we're going to be talking about what are the essential things we should be looking out for and taking note of when we are reading. Okay, let's begin. First, I would like you all to know that there are many different ways to annotate a text, and by using all of these different techniques together, you will be able to become the best annotator possible. The first technique is writing in the margins. You could write things like small summaries of paragraphs, connections, thoughts that you have, anything that you want to come back to where you would remember your ideas. That is what you should be writing in the margins. This is a great tool and helps us be able to expand on the text and be able to go back and see our initial ideas. Great, now I'm going to be showing you guys an example of this. Today, I'm going to be sharing my annotations from the book, The Outsiders. A moment I wrote in the margins can be seen here. I highlighted this paragraph because I thought it was important, but I wanted to make sure that I remembered why I thought it was important, and that's why I wrote in the margins that this shows what his values were. So when I was able to come back to the book, I knew exactly why I highlighted that paragraph. Another annotation technique that is very helpful is writing small summaries at the end of each chapter. By doing this, it helps us as the reader distinguish what the major events were that happened in the chapter and what the main ideas might be. Also, another reason why this is helpful is because when you're done reading the book and there may be assignments on the book, you'll be able to go back and see what events happened when. So if you're trying to find specific evidence that happened, you'll be able to locate it quickly. Also, doing this will give you an accurate summary of your own thoughts if you can't quite remember the book after you finish. By using this technique, it will make your life a lot easier and also help you reinforce what you think the main ideas are. Okay, let me give you guys an example of this. Again, from the book The Outsiders. After I finished this chapter, I just wrote a small paragraph summarizing the entire chapter and the main events. I want to make sure that you guys all know that when you're doing this, you don't need to try to make the paragraph long, just stick to the main ideas that happened within the chapter. The last technique that I'm going to share with you all is highlighting. Highlighting is a great tool and helps you identify what is important and what you want to take note of. Highlighting all the important events and what sticks out to you is a great way to use highlighting, but there's another way that we can bring highlighting to the next level and make it way more in depth. We can do this by using different colored highlighters to indicate different elements of the text. For example, yellow meaning character development, pink meaning major events, and yellow meaning figurative language. Overall, highlighting is a fantastic and easy way to annotate and helps us clearly define what we think is important within the text. Again, I'm going to give you guys another example from my own book. Here in The Outsiders, I used pink to define stereotypes, yellow for important events, and green for character development. And throughout the book, you can see that I used different colors for different lines. And this helped me when I was finished to go back and locate where those evidence could be found. Great, now we have finished all the different techniques that I will be sharing with you today. So remember to use your highlighter, to summarize after chapters, and to write in the margins. Even though I've shared all these techniques, I know that it can be hard to identify what is important and what we should be annotating, and what are the main points that are driving the plot of the story. Well, I'm gonna make your life less complicated and clearly state what we should be looking for when we are reading a text. Great, let's get started. The first thing that you should always be thinking about no matter what you're reading is what the main ideas are and what the theme could possibly be. Try thinking when you're reading if there are any repeating messages or events that are consistent throughout the whole book. What did the characters go through in the story? Did they learn anything from these experiences? Try thinking about the message that the author is trying to convey through this story. The next thing that we should be looking for is if the characters go through any change throughout the story. This is called character development, and it tells us what the characters are thinking and going through. This all gives us a deeper understanding of the characters and the story as a whole. Make sure that you are paying attention to the characters' traits, actions, and motivations. See if there are any moments throughout the book that they may have changed from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. Make sure to annotate these moments because they are very important and tells us key information about the characters. Okay, great. Let's move on. Another key element that you should make sure that you are annotating when you're reading is major plot events. Make sure you notice when the story has led up to a significant event, or if the author just used words and descriptive language to put special emphasis on it. Any moment that significantly defines and shapes the story, we should be taking note of, because that is when we're given the most information about the story, and it is very important that with our annotations, we fully analyze them and dive into them. Main events are often led up to in the story, but also there can be plot twists in the story that shocks the characters and have a big effect, and make sure that you're taking note of those as well. Major plot events are very noticeable and very important, but there are also less noticeable elements of a book that are just as important. For example, symbols and motifs. You may be wondering what symbols and motifs are. Symbols are an object or idea that represents a deeper meaning. Both of these are like hidden clues on what the main idea of the text could be. It is very important not to skip these because they can give us insight that is not easily seen on the surface. From personal experience as well, these motifs and symbols, if you notice them, are great to write papers on about books because they are very unique and most people aren't easily able to identify them. So if you are not only able to identify them, but also connect these motifs and symbols back onto the main ideas of the story, you are for sure going to impress your teachers with your skills with analyzing the book. Also, it is important to annotate the different techniques that the author uses within their writing. You can do this by looking for figurative language in the text. Look for similes, metaphors, foreshadowing, and irony. Note how these can enhance the text, put emphasis on certain moments, and give us more information on what is happening within the story. Just like motifs and symbols, these are small details and will bring your annotation to the next level. Looking for main ideas, character developments, major plot events, symbols and motifs, and figurative language will make you be able to deeply analyze the text and make you a good annotator and reader. However, to bring your annotation and reading to the next level and become an amazing annotator and reader, you need to be able to put your own ideas into your annotations. This makes it so you're not just noticing what is there, but you are also adding on and making it your own. And there are 3 different ways that we can do this. When reading a book, try to make connections between the text and your own life and personal experiences. You can also try to make connections between the text and different texts or historical events. All of this can give you a deeper insight onto what the characters are feeling and experiencing when they are going through these events. Also, it can give you more context onto the situation. For example, if a character in a book has to stay after class and talk to a teacher, have you ever experienced a similar thing? How did you feel in that moment? Maybe consider if the character in the book is feeling a similar thing to you in that moment. All of this can take your understanding and comprehension of the text to the next level. Great. Let's move on to the second way that we can input our own voice onto our annotation. You can make sure that if you are confused or just want to explore an idea deeper, to write down a question in the margins so you can return to it later. Not only does writing down these questions or ideas about the book help you go back and further your understanding, it can also help you guide discussions when it comes to the text in future group classroom environment. Okay, great. Let's move on to my third technique on how we can go above and beyond to make our annotating even better. The last thing that you need to be aware of when you're annotating is your own personal responses. Make sure you are recording your feelings, opinions, and reactions to what's happening in the text. How does this book make you feel? This again will help you lead discussions and have something about the text to analyze further. Great job, everyone. Now that you know how to annotate effectively, you are equipped with amazing tools to help you unlock further and deeper meaning about the text. Make sure to keep practicing and experiencing with different annotation techniques. These skills will not only help you understand the text more deeply, but also make your reading experience more enjoyable. Keep up the fantastic work. See you next time for more learning tips. Happy reading!